Hello. Hi, how's it going? It's Thea. Welcome back to Garden Goddess Tarot, and welcome to the official Summer Vibe deck list. These are going to be, this is the summer edit. This is what summer feels like, and I'm like alluding to the table, which is absolutely covered, to no one's surprise, in decks. I've enjoyed doing this. I did a spring one. It'll be linked below if you want to see. However, spring is so over. Solstice hit. We've just been through a heat wave. It is hot and sticky. The sun is shining. I don't wear socks or shoes anymore. And when my feet touch the pebbly, gravelly ground, that's when I know that it is truly summertime. So it very much has a summer feel about the weather, the setting, the light, just kind of the way everything is. The bugs are out. Things are starting to get a bit more oppressive outside. So it's summer, which means it's time to address which decks fit the vibe. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna talk about them. I've got so many, but I think I'm going to break them down into like the main summer deck choices. So I've got about 15 of them that we're gonna go through. We're gonna talk about whether talk myself back in or out of, we shall see. I've also got about another 10 decks that I'm going to put in a member video as like an honorable mentions section. Cause like they're it, but they're like not as it. So there will be a second video of another 10 decks down there for those that get to experience those wonderful videos. But for now, we're gonna talk about the main ones. So I guess without any ado of any sort, let's tuck in. Let's tuck into the list. Let's see what it feels like to be in summer. I will also say too, I guess I'm chatty today, sorry. I've kind of been out of the loop, off my game the last little while when it comes to tarot. I've been kind of just like using, what have I been using? I've almost been in like an oracle-y slump for the last couple weeks. I don't want to call it burnout because it's not burnout. I was just like, I don't know, wasn't feeling it. There was also nothing I desperately needed to know, which is always like, if I don't want to know anything, like, then I'm not gonna pull cards. So, and when I did, I've been using the RWS. It's like downstairs in my living room, and there's a little card stand that goes with the Gentle Chaos Oracle that's just out, and I've just been putting my RWS cards out, and it's been nice. But I think I'm in a space where I want to like get like shop my stash, get to know what I've already got in a way. So that's what we're doing right now. So anyway, as I'm shuffling, the most iconic, the summariest of summer decks that ever decked. This is the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot. Oh yes, it shuffles so well now that I've broken it in. I'll show. But it's a summer. It feels like beachy. It feels like the sea. It feels like piratey goodness. There's obviously mermaid, and there's Adam. I mean, I'm obsessed. But yeah, this is a winner, and it will pretty much show up on every summer deck list that ever existed, because it had its moment a few years ago, but it still lingers, it still hangs around, and it always shows its head this time of year, and I think that's for good reason. Like, I absolutely love taking this one to the beach. It's such a beach deck. It's fun. It like doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's still, but it's not fluffy. Like, it doesn't have the, sorry, I'm just grabbing the tower right here so you can see. It doesn't, like, it still has the sharp pokey edges if you need, but at the same time it still doesn't, it's not super serious. I don't know, it did something, this deck. It did something. And I don't know if any deck has ever been able to recreate what it is that this deck did. Like, it's like an RWS clone, right? Like, it's the most essential form of tarot, but it just took it to this fun and whimsical place. And she's an icon. so she has to come out this time of year, and I'm saying this right now. I'm making a point to bring her to the beach this year. She's coming to the beach. You know, dreams of reading tarot on the beach for strangers with the Mermaid Tarot is, I mean, that, and actually, and this next deck, which we'll jump right into right now, because it's also a has to go everywhere with me all the time deck. By the way, I also need, I don't know if you know, but I keep my Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot in a Crown Royal bag. Which is like such like a pirate change little doubloons purse if I've ever seen one. So it's so perfect. I don't, is it just a Canadian thing, Crown Royal? It's rye whiskey, so probably. But the bottles, which were the most beautiful bottles, used to come in this like this purple cotton bag with the gold embroidery on it. And it's not even that fancy of a drink. But anyway, it's so perfect for the Mermaid Tarot. It has to live in the Crown Royal bag. Anyway, I digress. What I was talking about is the deck that has to go with me everywhere is this one. And it is entirely a summer vibe, and it is a read for strangers on the beach type of deck also. And you can tell it's been with me everywhere because like the bag it's wrecked. It doesn't even close properly anymore. The strings got all tangled on the inside. So it needs a new bag. But the Ashura Tarot by Sarah Wheatley. This is the little guy too. It's a little bridge size, I think. Oh gosh, it's so good. I love this. I love this with my whole ass. It's my favorite go-to. Just reads like a dream. The color, and like you guys know I'm not a big colorful girly, but I think summer is the time that the color comes out. You may notice from the deck selection. If any time of year I tolerate color, it is during the summer. But this one, it's such a fave. It's been with me all over too. It's usually always kind of close, and I love it. It's got the astrological associations. There's an I Ching on all the quartz. The other thing it doesn't have is the Thoth keywords, which is fine because it is kind of its own thing, but still it's so beautiful, and it just does such beautiful justice. I love this card to the tarot energy that I'm obsessed. I love this card. Love it so much. Like look at Sun in Gemini. Yes. 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 Anyway, yeah, no, this is a winner. It also comes in like a bigger, more tarot size one if you're into it, but this little guy is just perfect. I never thought up until this moment of maybe getting the other just to have, but I like, because if I had the other one, it wouldn't be as special as this little guy that comes with me everywhere always. So I think I'm good with this one. It's so, the mandalas are so emotive. They capture everything so perfectly. Look at the little skull. But yeah, it's just, I'm into it. The majors are beautiful. And I don't know, it's a me deck. Like, it's always kind of close and with me, but because I tend to get out and about more in the summertime, spend more time away from the homestead, it gets used more for that reason. So Ashura Tarot by Sarah Wheatley is, I think it embodies the summeriness, the lifestyle of summer. So that's one. I guess we'll kind of keep like hugging kind of close to the more esoteric style decks. I don't know, maybe there's something a little bit more magic about the summer. And I mean like magic. Tabula Mundy and my Thoth Greenie, these two felt very much of the right now. And I don't know Tabula Mundy specifically because it's very much on my brain. I've busted it out a couple times recently for myself and others, and it's, again, another little guy. It's the little one. I like the little decks, except for the Thoth, which is like as big as my face. So anyway, Moline is currently kickstarting the Telos Tarot, Telos 777 Tarot. It's only up for 2 weeks. If you're into it, get on it quickly. It's an amazing deck. It was hand painted over the course of a couple years throughout the yearly cycle of the decans, using all of the astrological energy. Oh, it's everything. It is so good. It's one that you're not gonna come across a deck like this every so often, right? Like this is a, you know, once every decade kind of special deck. I'm really into it. So I've been reacquainting myself with her other deck that I own, the Tabula Mundy, and it's been so fun. Again, another kind of Golden Dawny deck with very Thoth adjacent imagery, like specifically Lady Frida Harris's drawings, but it kind of takes into account the well, she's got her own book. It's called Libra M, of tarot meanings, but it really does kind of includes the book T meanings as well as with the Picatrix as well. And I know this is, and then it really goes its own way for some cards, which I find so, some people find this card quite silly, but I think it's so clever. I mean, it fits. It fits for me. But yeah, no, this is a good one. Reads really well. Has all the information on it as you would expect. Comfortable with color. I don't know, this one's just such a goodie. And I need to not, it's not that I'm afraid, but like, you know, when you've got the more esoteric decks like this, you feel like the reasons that you want to use them are more serious. Like you've got to have a more like serious inquiry or working or intention or plan, something you want to do with them. And you feel like it has to be more serious when you use decks like this, but I feel like I need to just get over that and just use it more for the kinds of things that I do with cards, you know? Like not just saving it for when I'm doing a thing, you know? Because I love it. I love thinking about tarot this way. Like it adds so many extra layers and it just lets me like think and feel and experience tarot in such a fun way. And like just the riot of color. There's a good amount going on in the cards. Like it feels very summer. It feels like the excitement and action and busyness of the summer months. And when I tell you this deck shuffles so well, it's also beautiful. There's like little like spot glossy shiny bits on the back. So good. Anyway, I love this deck. It's so good. I need to use it more. And I'm going to be using it, kind of refreshing my experience with, oh, and it comes with the deck and cards as well. They're still on the bottom. But yeah, I'm going to be reacquainting myself with it until the time when the Telos Tarot is done printing and it gets to me. So anyway, I will link the Kickstarter down below if it's still going. I think I've got a few more days at least at this point. I want to get this up soon, so would highly recommend checking it out if you're into the more magical associations of tarot, like the astrological slant, like working with the decans, color scales, you know, all that fun stuff. And they're beautiful and highly functional. I mean, top tier tarot deck right there. And the greenie, this big obnoxious funny colored deck. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's I don't know, it's summer. I feel like it's summer. I use Thoth throughout the year, but something about this one, this particular copy of it, feels summery. Couldn't tell you why. But it does, so this guy will be out, I think, for the next few months. I don't think I'll be taking this one anywhere. It's a little oldie and a goodie. But ooh, oh, and there's a Dionysus too. Yeah, I don't know. But it's so pretty. I mean, yeah, no, she's good. She does the trick. And again, not, it's funny, with the Thoth, the magic-y bits that like the Tabula Mundy kind of feels like the seriousness of it. And like, I don't know if it's just the way I feel about the Thoth deck, but it feels like less serious, and it might just be like how I relate to its creator. In like a, like, you know when someone's being so serious it's silly? That's what it feels like. I don't know. Is the Thoth deck silly? It probably shouldn't be. But I think it is. Silly Thoth deck. But like, I love how silly it is in its seriousness. So I don't know. I've got a weird relationship with that one, but I think it's a summer vibe. So it's here. And the last of the more, this is like the most approachable version of a like association laden deck. This is a Zill Tarot. It comes in a beautiful little tin. Another beautiful little guy. It's just small. So good. The book is actually really quite handy. Backs look like this. I don't talk about this one as much as I should. I freaking love this deck. It is just such a great reader. It takes the seriousness of the last couple decks we've talked about and it just tones it down a little bit. I'm not gonna say waters it down, but I want to say it because they use watercolor paintings. So it waters it down and it adds another layer of softness and emotion to it that otherwise the other ones don't have. But it's such a treat to read though. Matches a lot of things. There's a few other decks on this list that it matches with so well. It's painterly. You know I love a deck that's been painted by the hand of its creator. Has our keywords on it for ease of use. I don't know. It's a great one. I really like it. And I use it all the time. So this is, I would call this one an underrated deck if I've ever seen one. It's got, I have to show you. It has one of my favorite Four of Wands cups ever. I just gotta find it. There it is. This is it. This is it. This is my favorite Four of Wands ever. This is what it is. This is why. I've never ever seen another Four of Wands card even remotely touching on the concepts that this one is, and I love it so much. So anyway, Zill Tarot. Top tier, great, and very summery. And it's just primed and ready to go with you on a little adventure. It just wants to go on an adventure with you. Now we're morphing into the dreamy layer. The fluid, the emotional. This is like the next couple decks fit firmly into Cancer season as opposed to Leo season. So they're like the Cancer part of summer. Roots of Asia Tarot. This is an old AGM deck. If you can find it, it's not in print anymore, but if you can find it secondhand, it is worth looking into because it is beautiful. And when I say it reads so well, I mean it. It reads so well. It's like, if you like to pick up on the intuitive hits of the imagery, this deck does it like none that I have also. The guidebook is in French. The titles are in French, but tarot's pretty easy to figure out and translate for that matter. So it's pretty easy to figure what cards are what if you have no idea words in French. But if you can track this one down, it's so good. And AGM decks, they smell the best. The tuck boxes are properly sturdy and wonderful. So let's look at some cards. The color palette is just perfect. They are soft and beautiful. They do the tarot such great justice. I just love it. Everything about this I'm into. And I've never read the guidebook. So this is the deck that I do read purely based on my personal tarot meanings, my personal associations, and the imagery on the cards. Like, I have no idea what the author intended because I have not read the guidebook because it is in French. But I love how freeing that is. That's such a good card. Yeah. It really, like, I don't know, it takes the training wheels off and just like lets you float through its images and experience tarot in a truly personal kind of way. And it's actually really good for reading for others too, shockingly enough. I love it. It matches so many things. I've got a few oracle decks that go with it perfectly, but it has a distinctly summer vibe as well, which is what we're essentially talking about. And I think it fits really well with the Cancer part of the summer. So early summer, before it gets like oppressively hot and like grimy and gritty. This is the bright, warm, early summer, as opposed to like the searing, buzzing scorchingness of late summer. So good. I love this deck. So yeah, this is Roots of Asia Tarot. I love it. Amazeballs. Another very Cancer-y summer deck, Luminous Void Tarot. This is one that I always want to pull out more often, but it usually waits until the summertime. It's a weird shape. It's one of the first rose petal finish decks that kind of made the rounds and introduced people to the beautiful unshuffleability of it. And I think there was an edition of this that was even bigger. So like this one I can get my fingers around just like so. But I really tend to just side shuffle it more, like waterfall it from the side is the best way. And you can kind of overhand it, but the oval shape is weird. But like its awkwardness, it's part of its charm. You either deal with it or you don't. I love it. It adds to its personality. Its personality is quite strong. They're watercolor paintings. They're very loose. They're very fluid. They don't stick to at all really the imagery that we are used to seeing in a tarot deck, but it does. It's that freeing element of it. I think another big theme of a lot of these decks is like that the freedom that the summer kind of allows. It's bright. It's really, I don't know. Do I turn into a different person during the summer? I feel like the vibe is like my tastes in the summertime kind of go a completely different direction. So I don't know, but yeah, it's colorful, it's bright, it's loose, it's whimsical. I don't know, whimsical's maybe not the right word. Maybe more weird. Otherworldly. I don't know, I love it. It's so fun. So this is a good one to come out this time of year. It's a summer deck. Like, look, ooh. What a weirdo. King of Cups. Wow. But yeah, Luminous Void. And really, the name is ideal. Luminous Void Tarot. I'm a Luminous Void. So that's by Laura Zussman. Also, I can't mention this without mentioning the Candide Oracle, which she also made. So the woman who created this painted the Candide Oracle, and it's like it would be on this list, but it's an everyday all the time deck. There's one out right now actually. It's this one. You are a multitude. And so am I. That's actually the last card in the deck, I think. Ooh. A big one. But yeah, very curious. But yeah, so that one is also technically a summer deck, but it's also an all the time deck. And that's the other thing about this list as well, is these are ones that I tend to kind of reach for more in the summer. They're like the right now. And the ones that like I always kind of go for, my regulars, my staples, they're really not included in the list. So maybe one day we will do a big old video about those ones, because it's about time I did an all-time faves deck. Don't you think? Okay, next one on the list. Oh, okay, let's stick with our color. We're talking greatly about color and how colors kind of come back in a big way these summery months. This wonderful thing. This is the Narrative Alchemy Tarot by Chrissy Bentley. And it is, if you do any work with color energy, if you do chakra related energy work, this is going to be a really, really handy tool for you. Look at those backs. Looks like a rug. Remember what I said? But if it looks like a rug. This deck is such an interesting concept, and I don't have any like it. It's got a keyword, a number, and an elemental sign, and a color. And that's its structure. And it perfectly mirrors the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot in such like a wonderful way. So this one has a 1 and an air sign. So this is the Ace of Air, or the Ace of Swords in this case, and it's inspiration, and then it's blue. She's got a guidebook that she hand wrote that's very handy if you want a little bit more detail about the keyword and how the energy matches the tarot, it's so wonderful. It's like reading Chrissy's own like little notebook. It's so good, and you can buy it separately, but I believe this one is still available through Make Playing Cards if you want it. So it's really handy, and especially if you work with color. It makes a great spread deck too, if you're the kind of person who wants to. I don't think I've ever done it for that, but if you like to build spreads by pulling cards, you can use this. It's perfect, absolutely perfect for that, because you can just lay the other cards right on top. It's fun to put in order of color, make a rainbow out of it. It's just such a fun deck. I used it when I was working with kids as well. This is a great, like, we were just exploring the energy of color with kids in a youth group setting, and I used it for that, and it was perfect for that. So fun. They loved it. So yeah, Narrative Alchemy Tarot. One that has summer vibes for me for sure. And I think it will be coming out to play, to be used. The timing card. How fun. 12, so that is the Knight of Pentacles. Which is my cord card. Ooh. But yeah. A winner. And a great deck for summer. Oh, the Joy card, which is the Sun. Yes. Yes, indeed. So good. So yeah. A fantastic little friend. Chrissy's also starting a Reiki 1 course if you ever wanted to learn or just refresh your Reiki skills, Reiki practice, whether or not you you provide as a practitioner or if you just do it for yourself and your friends. I feel like Chrissy would be the best teacher for that I've ever come across. So I'll link that down below if you're interested as well in any of that business. But so good. Okay, the next deck on the list, very summery. This one had its moment. I still love it though. The Pastoral Tarot. Yep, she still smells of the oil with which I anointed her. This is a US Games deck that came out last year or the year before maybe. Oh, time. It's hard to keep track of as it flows through us in its weird way. It's a landscape deck, so it's very different, but it's beautiful. And it very much encapsulates it's a really summery deck. There's a few cards that take place during the winter, but I think on the whole, it really feels thoroughly summer for me. This one's illustrated by Lisa Hunt, who is kind of iconic in the land of tarot for her very detailed illustrations for tarot decks that are very scenic. And it feels, it's a really soft and cozy deck for me. It really brings me back to my childhood interactions with my grandparents, which, as many of you know, I'm currently living on the farm. So it's just a way to kind of bring in my history into my present and kind of feel those feels again through the lens of tarot. But yeah, it's nice, and I think it's a great summer deck, and it's gonna be coming out this summer. I like the Knight of Cups. But that's just me. Again, this is one that's definitely not for everybody. There's some cards that kind of go certain directions that might feel uncomfortable, which is totally fine. I understand entirely, and you know, recognize that based on, you know, everybody has a different pass. But when it comes to the setting of this, those kind of cards, I'm thinking specifically the Judgment card, just in how I remember and the way things were, like, you know, church on Sundays is what you did, right? Like when I was a kid, I used to go to church on Sundays with my grandparents, and it was something we did together. Whether like that, I don't now. It was more of my experience of spending time with them and understanding how they saw the world and experienced it, and you know, made choices in their life based around that experience. But I'm like fully aware that there are a lot of people who have very severe and deep wounds from that kind of experience. So I'm really glad that I'm, you know, got off relatively scot-free in that department. But this deck, it's like, I don't know, I guess it's like ancestor work, this deck, for me. Recent ancestor, not like deep ancestor, but I love the Seven of Pentacles. There's so much in here, and the images, like the specific flowers chosen, the greenery, the landscape, it's all correct. It's not just like chosen willy-nilly. It all has significance, and if you know, pick plant meanings, you can throw them on the cards. There's a lot of people in this deck too. It's a very people-y deck, as she shows a people-less card. But on the Ace of Swords, of course, that would make sense. But there's a lot of interactions between people and their surroundings in this deck, and it feels really, really real, really alive. And I don't know, just it's a very earth. It's an earth-focused summer deck, and I think it deserves more credit than it got when it came out, in my opinion. That is the Pastoral Tarot. Lisa Hunt. I'm pretty sure it's still available. Can't see why it wouldn't be. Probably also the reason I feel like it's a summer deck is because when I was a kid, I used to come here to the farm far more often during the summer, naturally. So that makes sense. Okay, so let's move into the gritty late summer feels. The slightly oppressive energy of the summer sun. We're going into Jumble Dance, and I think basically any collage deck that's on the darker side kind of really fits this energy specifically. This one's got some heavy black borders, which kind of really exemplify that feeling for me as well. They are fairly busy, but they're not. It's not the busiest collage deck that ever collage decked. But it feels like the weight of summer. It's like, oh, I love the card. Oh my god. It's filled with joy, but it's filled with the kind of erratic, busy energy of summer. And this is one that I do kind of need the guidebook with still, because its meanings do its own kind of unique thing. Oh, that's a good one too. So this one for me isn't a great one for reading. Like, I can read it for others, but to get the true intent of the meaning from the creator, I like to hang on to the guidebook with. And the courts are a bit different. I think it's man, woman, boy, girl, or like woman first, man, girl, boy. So it takes my like structure of the court cards and just kind of tweaks it a little bit, but I'm willing to forgive it that. Because as it stands on its own, it's a really fantastic and splendid deck. Like, look at that one. Isn't that so summer? That's the garden right there. Miss Venus of Willendorf on the world. Love to see it. But yeah, no, this is one of my favorite collage decks, and it has a big summer feel. And like, as I said, the elements of collage really translate well to summertime, I think. And especially in the majors, it was really intentionally chosen which collage elements to include, which is why the guidebook is really handy. It's very specific in saying which elements were chosen and what they represent, and it's a beautiful one to use. So I'm gonna bust this one out for the next couple months, I think, in various ways. And the next deck is the Oracle deck, which I don't know, maybe? Yeah, I'll pair it with it probably. Oh, yeah. So fun. Okay, Jumble Dance by Alexandra Giannetti. The one I want to pair it with is this guy. This is a very, very summery deck also, maybe. This could be more of an all-around time year one, but I don't know, it feels more summery to me just based on the nature of what it's about. This is the Tantric Dakini Oracle, which is kind of a tarot. It has the major arcana in it, although slightly weirdly named, and all of the minors less the court cards. And then there's 3 bonus cards in it. It works really well as an oracle, just with the keywords. And I believe I've mentioned every time that I've talked about this deck that the association to Tantra isn't super useful or correct from people I know who are familiar with it, but as an oracle it does its job really quite well, and the ideas and the directions that it takes your brain as you're reading about it in the book are kind of fun. And it works really well as a clarifier. Like, it's a really good one all around. It's been around for ages. Comes with a huge book. But I don't know, I feel like it's very summery, so it's coming out. Actually, I need to get a new bag for this. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna order one of Jonaki's bags because this needs to be in one of Jonaki's bags. Jonaki from Catamancy Tarot, she just launched her Etsy shop and she makes beautiful tarot bags. Like, they are so stunning, out of reclaimed sari silk material. So if you like to keep your tarot decks in silk, or any like oracle decks, which have you, it's a great way to protect it. They're measured perfectly. All of the measurements are on her listings as well, so you can find one that fits a deck perfectly, and that way it keeps it from banging around inside things. But my point is, this deck, this oracle deck, it needs to be in a Jonaki bag, so I'm gonna buy one, I think. So if you're into some really lovely high quality bags, and I say that I know this because she gave me some when I met her. Was it last fall? She gave me a couple and they're so good and I love them so much, so I will be purchasing a couple more. So I'll list her shop in the down bar below. But yeah, Tantric Dakini Oracle, very summer, will go really well with the last one I talked about, Jumble Dance, among other things. This matches a lot, actually. When it comes to an oracle deck that goes with collage, this one is great, and it is fine on its own too, so a winner. Okay, we're getting the home stretch, guys. There's only a couple more left, like 5. Another very, very summery one that's just, this is like full, it's like Leo / Sagittarius energy, but Cosmic Tribe Tarot. This feels like a weird hippie festival. The guidebook is so friendly. It's just full of joy. It's that kind of, you know, the friendly hippie. It's like if New Age wasn't ruined by, you know, the terrible people who set out to ruin it. I feel like this is what it is. Yeah, the art is wild. It's a bit psychedelic. It's energetic and crazy. There's a lot of like naked bodies all over it. But just, you know, people being themselves, in themselves, being weird for the sake of being weird. I like the way it depicts the flow of energy in the cards. It's kind of got a thothy flair to it, but nothing that would trip up any regular reader, I don't think. Oh, that's a good card too. Oh, I like that one. Oh, it's just so good. And it's fun. It's always fun. This deck is always fun. When it comes out, it means fun. It means happiness. It means joy. It means like, it's like a radical joy. It's like, things suck, but I'm gonna be happy and that'll show them. You know? It's like, the world is awful, or could be awful, but I'm going to see the beauty and joy in it anyway. Is entirely what this deck kind of does, for me anyway. You may have a completely different experience with it. Oh, it's just so fun, and I like it a lot. And I've talked about it quite a few. I think I did a whole video on it if you wanted to see. The one deck gone wild tag that we did a while back. I used this one. And it is wild. It is a great deck to go wild with. Another really good beach reader. This would be a really good one for the beach. No, my beach deck bag. Wow, why is that so hard to say? My beach deck bag is getting very full, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, Cosmic Tribe. Very summery. And wouldn't be summer without the inclusion of some sun energy, would it not? And as a sun bunny myself, this deck, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Now this one falls kind of, or we'll come full circle back around to our Astrological Association decks, but it's so good. So this deck is based around all of the early, like the 7 minor planets. Sun, Mercury, Venus, Moon, Jupiter, Saturn, and then all of the 12 zodiac signs within those 7 classical planets. And it takes those energies, mixes it for you. So technically all of the decans are in here. But it's not, like, that's not it. It's like basically any sign in any of those planets. So it's a good one to cross-reference your birth chart with if you wanted to kind of see the energy of, but it works just really well as a straight up oracle deck for clarification. It works really well. It matches beautifully the any Robert M. Place deck. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like it might actually go really well with the Emmeline decks as well, like the Tabula Mundy too. Haven't used it with it, but it might. But I really like it. The layout of the cards is based on the planet, and there's a house number at the top, but I don't use those. I don't take that into account myself. And you can use it however you want. They're really good to like pull a couple of cards together. Like they string together to make an oracle message really, really quite well. And then you can, if you're using them with a tarot deck, you can cross-reference the astrological associations of these cards on top of the tarot that you've pulled, just to see if there's, you know, threads you can tie together. Like if you have pulled like this card, we've got Mars in Leo over here, which is egotism, which also kind of corresponds to the Seven of Wands as well. So you can kind of cross-reference those energies as well. Or you can look and see if you've got the Tower anywhere, you've got Mars, he's there. If you've got the Emperor anywhere, you can take however much of that information you want to kind of include in the energy of that card. But it's I don't know, it's a handy one for putting together puzzle pieces of a tarot reading, and fun to do in the summertime, and also a cute little boy. Summertime is the time for tiny decks. Venus and Leo affair. Ooh. Mercury and Taurus resistance, and this is the Five of Pentacles, so you can, if that comes up as well, like the energy's all kind of there, showing its own neat little way. But anywho, yeah, Oracle of the Radiant Sun by John Astrup, and I always get the name wrong. His wife. I want to say Carolyn Hillier, but I think that's wrong. But anywho, a great one for summer because it's the sun. Okay, and the last, I've got a little bundle of oracle decks that are like, you have to, like, of course they're summer decks, like they're summer decks, right? Like there's no argument that these are summer decks. And then this one, we'll save this one for last though, because I want to talk about that one. Seashell Oracle, I have like banged on about in many videos recently, but I could not include it in this, because if there was ever a summery beach deck, it would be this. Stunning, beautiful, gorgeous. Seashells. Like this is lounging by the sea. This is dipping your toes in the water. This is feeling the massive power of the ocean, the mystery contained within its depths, the life that breathes within it, that's a world away from the land-dwelling life that we live up here. It's great, and is a summer deck. So I won't bang on about that one too long. There's a whole video about it if you want to see, but it's a good one. Seashell Oracle by Broccoli Mag. Is that one? And then the Cosmic Pearl Oracle just came out by Ashley Frost and Lee Showman, Sacred Scribe Publishing, and it's a really girly deck, and this one's one that's not going to be for everybody, but I just absolutely love how cozy it is. It's a bit silly sometimes, but it's also really just nice and gentle and beautiful, and just it's soft. You know, it's soft girl vibes. Like number 40, Butterfly Musings, comfort, positivity, and spiritual growth. Like you're not gonna, the kind of readings that you do with this one aren't gonna be really practical. They're not gonna be like any wildly different concept that you're unfamiliar with. You're not like gonna go on a weird mental adventure with it. This is just like a deck that holds your heart when it needs held, you know? Crystalline Blessings, Activation, Rainbow Energy, and Awaken. So depending on what deck you match with it, it's gonna go a certain way. Oh, salt in your hair. This is my favorite card in the whole deck, I've decided. It's official. This one is my favorite card. Wild heart, uniqueness, and untamed. And I just, the idea, the phrase salt in your hair, like you can feel it. You can feel the crunchiness. You can feel like the dry, rough texture of your hair that has been thoroughly salted by an afternoon thrashing about amidst the waves in the sea. You can smell it. You can feel that like layer of salt on your skin that's dry and tight and tender skin that's been kissed by the sun at the same time. You taste the wine. I mean, like it's a whole, this card is a whole setting. It's a whole experience. Just from the phrase salt in your hair. I love it so much. Wisteria rooted, longevity, luck, and fearlessness. Yeah, very summer deck, I would say. Entirely. Aligned romance. Card of true love. So I think it's you definitely want something else. You want to pull tarot with this one for some more direction, some more specificity. It's more context, right? But because they're pretty broad and big. But it's beautiful. And it's just it's gorgeous to look at. Really pretty. Yeah, and I like it. So that's the Cosmic Pearl Oracle. And it's a summer deck also. Totally. Alrighty. Last one. Last but not least for this video. Keeping in mind the honorable mentions stack over there is going to be in the member space. Is in this wonderful bag. You see this bag? I made this. This is my first attempt at making a tarot bag. This was a dress that I never wore. But I sacrificed it for the sake of a tarot bag. And I'm not mad about it. It's got old lace. I even lined it in satin, so it's professional. But yeah, so inside it lives a very special one. And this is the Rose Alchemy Oracle that my beautiful and wonderful and gorgeous and sweet and garden-loving friend Candy from Candy Soul and Soil sent after we did the Garden Arcana videos together as the little commemoration, and just such a special gift. And this deck is pure Aphrodite energy. It is beauty. It is grace. It's everything. And it's one that you know, one card at a time, you take slow. It's a good one to pair with a bunch of other decks that live up on that shelf. You know how much I love roses. That connection between Candy and I and our work in the garden. And not the work though, but just the appreciation for the lessons the garden has to teach in that work. The respect for the movement of the seasons and the wheel that the garden really solidifies within you. How timing works in a garden, and it's something that you really can't explain. You have to experience. You have to be there witnessing the cycles and the change of these plants throughout the year, and how you realize that they really are their own little beings. They do what they want to do. You can tell a rose to bloom all you want. It's not going to until it's ready, until the right time, and then it does. And then it does for such a short, sweet amount of time, and then it's over. And it breaks your heart into 1,000 pieces every time. And you can try and preserve it, but you know, drying the flowers, it doesn't, and in order to dry them, you must sacrifice them. You've got to cut them before they're fully, you know, open, or else they're just going to fall apart. So in order to try and preserve something, you have to stop it from ever getting to that peak point. It's the lessons the garden teaches are deep and vast and painful, but I think it's such a reflection of life, and it makes things true and real, and it just puts so much of the other ways we live into context, and it takes the pressure off. You can be a steward and a witness and experience the beauty when it happens, like sitting around waiting for, you know, the beauty to arrive isn't going to do any good, because it's not going to get there any faster. It's going to get there when it gets there. And in waiting for one thing, you miss what's happening at the time. So if it's, you know, late May and there's early things blooming and you're sitting there like stamping your feet waiting for the roses to come, you're going to miss out on what's around you already. So it's just, it really takes you by the back of the head and makes you focus and practice mindfulness. And mindfulness and a lack of control, as well as devotion and maintenance and the, you know, chop water, carry wood, chop wood, carry water aspect of working in the garden. It's, you know, you're on your hands and knees, fingers in the dirt. It's an act of devotion. It's part of the practice. And it's beautiful. So this deck, this Rose Alchemy Oracle is a reflection of that gardening experience, and thoroughly a summer deck. So yeah. So there we have it. I'm gonna leave that at that wonderful deep set of thoughts. But yeah, there we have it. That is the bulk of the summer deck edit. Let me know what you think. If there's any that I missed. Or there's probably a ton that I missed. There's so many decks in the world. It's ridiculous. But I think having this little, I think there's like 15 of them or something like that. Just a little curated collection should do the trick in keeping me thoroughly fixed in the present moment, in the energy of the current season, instead of straying, hoping for fall, right? We don't want to hope for fall yet. We need to be in summer, and these decks will help me be in summer. But if you want to see the honorable mentions, have a look in the member space at the Of the Goddess tier. We're gonna go into those there, just for funsies. And otherwise, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you've had a good time, and I'll see all you fine people in my next video. Oh, why is it awful? Who did this? Why did it dry like this? Who knows?